Welcome to another Off the Record Real Talk for Regulated Leaders. Thank you, Cabrina, for joining me today.
Thank you, Jayna.
Literally my bestie in the house here. So excited because these are like just girls chat videos where we're just talking. It's usually Michelle and I a lot of times. And Cabrina and Michelle have not had the pleasure of getting tons of time together yet. But once they do, I know that everybody watching is going to be like, get those girls together because you two are so similar in so many ways. And that's why I'm really excited to just get to sit and have another chit chat with you two because it's also been a while since we've done a FaceTime. So, hey, girl.
Hello, how are you?
Doing fantastic. We're navigating the roller coaster of life, ups and downs and winds left and right, and sharing along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really excited for you too because you're in a transition in your life, right? You just moved.
Yes, into this beautiful, beautiful new castle is what I'm calling it.
I get to
For
see it
the queen that
now.
I am.
Yes. And you've worked
Um,
so hard to get to this point too. I've been with you
yes.
watching for feels like a decade. I know it's not yet, and it feels like it's been forever, a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. You
So,
saw me at some of the very beginning stages.
yeah.
Yeah.
Does it feel good to have all of that space to yourself? Is it kind of lonely? Like, how is that?
I like it a lot more than the two-story house.
Sure.
It feels the loneliness is not something that bothers me personally. I really enjoy my alone time. In fact, allowing people into that is um I really enjoy how easy it is to clean. The pets are enjoying the layout a lot as well, and you know how important that is to me. So even the
Oh,
cats are coming out more.
yeah. I
Yeah,
love
there's
that.
just a lot to appreciate about this space.
Yes. It's been a long time coming.
I feel like one of the best parts about this transition is where I was at before had a lot of residual energy from past residents. And, there was a lot of transitions that were never fully me. And this space gets to be completely me. The
Yes.
office, just how I like it. My bedroom, just how I like it. Even the cat room, the cats have their own room, just how I like it without
Yes.
any other influences. So that's pretty nice.
That's so true. And because physical objects can carry energy and memory, and because nobody's made any memories there yet, you get to start fresh versus old spaces kind of can carry some of that residual energy you're talking about. And
Exactly.
yeah. And you were in the last place for how long? Was that 5 or 6 years, maybe?
I think it was almost 5. Let's see, 2020. Yeah, almost 5 years.
Yeah.
It was a
That's,
great place. It served me very well. I loved
yeah.
it. Yeah. It's just time to grow a little bit.
Excited to see this growth. So part of that growth, I know I have had the joy of having the front seat for all of it, literally watching the ups, the downs, the downs, the downs, the downs, the ups, the ups, the downs.
Oh boy, don't have this on my life.
Because we all go through it, right? We go through these really, really muddy parts of life, and then we get to where we are. Like you're sitting here, honestly, you're in a space that looks really beautiful. You look really beautiful. If people know anything about who you are as a human, they know you're a beautiful human. And most people might look at you and think, well, you've never struggled a day in your life. What would you say to someone like that?
I would say I truly believe the universe did put me on the path of least resistance. And sometimes with that path of least resistance comes a lot of contrast that allows you to really appreciate the joy that comes.
Yes.
So, not that it's not been a struggle, but I am at a place now where I can kind of see the purpose of it all. And it's like, okay, that really was the path of least resistance. And
Hmm.
knowing that the universe, well, boy, did it give me a lot of contrast. It also really brought me to a place of appreciation.
Hmm.
And I feel like it never ever gave me more than I could handle. And so I feel like every step along the way, sometimes you can't see it until you're at the other end of it. And I'm learning to have appreciation for it in the moment of the contrast versus like, oh, that's why that happened that way. So if they're also in the midst of struggle, and, I would just encourage them to find one of those places they've struggled before. And when they came out of it, like, hey, I can see why that worked out the way it did now. If that didn't happen, this would have never happened. And I really, really love this. This is a beautiful thing.
Isn't that right? Most things that we have this like huge negativity to, you can almost always trace it back to something in your life that you have today that you adore and would never give up. And it's like, oh, to
Yeah.
sacrifice that painful experience, you would also have to sacrifice all the good. I know that like there were a lot of things that led us to the paths to meet in life, and I would not exchange any of that for
Wouldn't
the
change a
relationship.
freaking second.
I mean, you never know what paths you're going to cross with people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as I'm sitting here, like I'm having a flood of all of these memories of different, what could be, quote, terrible experiences in life. And
Hmm.
I'm thinking about, oh no, but that one got me this person, and that one got me that person, and this, and it's like I almost feel like I'm a pokey trainer, right? I'm like gotta catch them all. I'm like here to like gather the people, right? So I'm like going through life, and I'm basically just trying to collect cool people along the way. So it's like, of course, it's gonna be a challenging battle, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
sometimes lose, but I don't know. It's a fun way to look at
And
it.
I know recently you had just shared as well that you would do it all over again if it meant you got to be in that room again, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like there are moments we reach there. And I feel like if we allow ourselves to just calm down a little bit, then even in the midst of that like contrast of that, like, oh, no, 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 I don't like that. We can just release that and say, hey, this makes me more clear on what I want. And we can find a way to reframe it in our minds of something that's benefiting us, and find a way to connect this belief that it's all working out for us in divine timing. My own personal beliefs, but yours may look different. But if we can connect that back to our belief, I really truly feel like even in the midst of it, right? You can, as they say, dance in the rain,
Yeah.
which I love to do as well. It's been raining here. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've just gone barefoot out into the middle of the street and
I
just,
can't imagine rain there. I mean, it hadn't been raining for so long, and then now it has, and like the juxtaposition of life, giving you both the rain to dance in and the sunshine to
yeah,
evaporate it all away, right?
yeah,
I love
yeah,
that. And it's so true is that we really the it's like personal growth. You never get to a point to where you stop having problems. You
no,
just get to the point to where you can navigate through those problems in the actual problem. Like you were
yes,
saying, instead of where everybody's like looking backwards by a couple years or even months and going, oh, now I get it. It's like in the moment, you can be seeing it and experiencing it and go, oh, I see the lesson. And you still have to experience the entire thing. Uh,
yeah,
so
yeah.
true.
And could you imagine if the problem stopped? Then we'd like really truly be dead. And that just does not sound like fun. Like, how are you supposed to expand without a little bit of, just like weight training? You're not going to grow if there's no resistance.
Right.
How are you going
And
to get the glutes without the heavy weight on the back?
you have to have both sides of the dichotomy for the thing to exist, right? And
Exactly. And
and
and I feel like that stagnation is really, I would choose resistance over stagnation any day. Easy
yes.
easy.
And everybody loves surprises, right? Except for when surprise is like an extra bill or, getting your car totaled or something. So it's like you gotta be very specific with your words, and life comes with both. Those surprising blessings that are amazing, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I would take this every day." And those little surprises like my, tire blowing out yesterday and needing a totally new one. Yes. Yes. Yes, we
The careful
experience.
with the words is such a chuckle. So I was laughing at myself so hard because, as you know, I've really been diving into the law of attraction and
Yeah.
specifically the Abraham Hicks teachings. I really love how they talk about just slowly working up the emotional scale. And it really resonates with me currently. And so I was talking with the universe. I'm being playful. I was like, yo, universe, like, show me a sign that this is actually real. Like, the law of attraction is actually real. And this little pops up into my mind. And Ditto, as cute as he is, He loves to go for little Easter egg hunts on picking up after Chansey's droppings. And I'm laughing because I'm like, well, I did tell the universe I don't really enjoy doing this chore, and perhaps it could find someone to do this chore for me.
So this is one of your pups cleaning up after the other pup, for those who don't understand who Ditto and who Chansey are.
So
I would say
that was
that you
a
are
fun
correct.
experience. I also, this was a very radiant day. I was having such a fun time, so playful with the universe. And same thing, a few months back, I'm leaving the mountains and I get the little tire pressure sensor on my car. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of looking like the left front tire is kind of low. It wasn't. It's just the temperature change. There's nothing wrong with the left front tire. I go to visit my brother, a couple weeks later, and he goes, oh, your left front tire is looking a little low. It wasn't. It was just the way that I was parked on the curb. Then lo and behold, the little tire sensor light comes on, and I was like, oh, it's probably just weather change or something. This thing is so sensitive. So I didn't stress about it. I get home and I look at it and I'm like, my front left tire is definitely flat. So I'm laughing because I'm like, all right, universe, I asked you for a sign. Here it is. I'm laughing. I go to, and similarly as you do, I'm like, this is a great chance to connect with someone that I would have never met normally. So I go to the tire place. Guy is such a doll. We talk Pokemon. He sees all the Pokemon plushies in my car on my little keychain. And when I get back to pick up my car, he's like, all right, you're all taken care of. And I was like, well, how much do I owe you? And he's like, no, you're all taken care of. So it was kind of the universe being like, but don't worry, I still got you.
Yes. Yep. I hear it. And when we go into these situations with that positive, I don't know if you avoided the negative spiral, but I know for my certain situation yesterday is that of course it happened and I was like, yay, like a little sarcastic yay, but like I knew what I was doing for my subconscious. And I was like, yay. And I was like, oh, I wonder what this is going to bring. And it was like taking everything to keep me from just crying, right? And like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
because you get those days where you just needed it to be an easy day. It was far from easy. Well, I got really lucky. I did look up online that just literally at the end of the street, there was
Nice.
a tire place, and I was like, perfect. So I called, and I was like, hey, do you happen to have a tow truck? Like, can I get a tow? And she was like, well, it's gonna be $65. And I was literally not even a quarter of a mile, and I was like,
I feel
ma'am,
like I could sneeze faster.
I was like, "Ma'am, I can't drive on this rim. Like, it's not like I have a nail in it. It's like it's flat. It's like gone." And she's like,
It
"Okay."
looked like someone had cut it.
It literally was probably a piece of metal sticking out from a bush that I haven't found yet, that I
Oh,
drove by, and it sliced the tire on the side wall of the tire. And anybody who knows tires knows there's no saving that now. And
yeah.
it
Yeah.
literally looked like a box cutter went straight through it. I pushed
That
it with
is
my
what it
thumb.
looked like. Yeah.
And I know that it wasn't, because I know that the tires were fine. I was by myself and all the things. But I also am aware that there's a lot of junk on the property. And but similarly, I get the tow. These guys are great. They're helping me out. They're being fantastic. Like, they change out the tire, and the guy who owns the place comes to me and he's like, look, it's $65 for the tow, and then you're good otherwise. And I was like, no, like you put a tire on my car. And he goes, well, here's the deal. We didn't have the exact right tire. And I was like,
Okay.
okay. And he's like, we also didn't want you to be stranded here without a car. And I was like, okay. He goes, so we put one on that's close to the same size tire. And he's like, just come back tomorrow. We'll order the right one tonight. It'll be here tomorrow. I did. It was fine. I didn't drive very far. And it was the fact that like I did, and then we ordered the tire. The tire was there the next day. I went in, they changed it, and they sent me on my way. They did not charge me labor for any of it.
Wow.
Like, I'm so used to going to tire places and then being like, well, we used our little diameter thing and it's your tires are this low. You need to buy 3 more tires or you can't leave here legal. Like, they're always trying to,
Yeah.
oh, you need
Yeah.
an alignment first, or how about this and that? And it was
Well,
not.
it's funny because you did need alignment in order to get that.
This is
They
true.
weren't wrong. They were just talking about a different kind of alignment.
Well, and I didn't go in with this thought process that they were going to try and sell me stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, if you go in with this, like if I was to go up to them and treat them like, no, I don't need anything else. I just need this like any of that. I think they may have pushed, or like, I don't know. You attract that energy sometimes. I was very much like, I know it happened to my car. It's clearly a flat. I clearly need a new tire. I know you can't fix this. There's nothing you can do. Like, it was very cut and dry. I
Yeah.
treated them well. It's also like a little mom and pop shop, so it wasn't like
Mm,
super anything. It was just this little hole in the wall place that had good people at it. And we
yeah.
live in a world where people that look like me probably would not have looked at and given the respect to these people that they deserve. And
Mm,
I was really grateful to do that and to be able to be that good experience where I'm like asking their names. How are you? What are you doing? How's today? Glad it's only 70 today and not 90 today. Like, being kind and nice and not just dropping off a car and standing there like, I have somewhere to be. Can you hurry up? I'm going to get on my phone. Let me just sit in a corner and text. Like, no, I was standing there and
yeah.
being nice and like, how can I help? Can I just, I don't know that people in the service industry are used to that anymore. I think they're so used to being invisible. And when someone sees you, I think it's more likely that you're going to go out of your way to help them have a great experience, right? Like they
Mhm.
had a whole bunch of other people there today. I showed up and they just started right off in my car. It was the idea that when you exude kindness and you
Mhm.
actually care and you see people, they will do the same in return. But when you go and make assumptions about people because of how dirty they are, they're mechanics. They better be dirty or else you're probably not a good mechanic, right?
Once you're there.
Like like if you're going and washing your hands after everything you touch, I don't know if this is, so the idea that like people prejudge based on what they see,
Mhm.
and I just didn't do that, and I think that was part of what attracted, because it shifts our energy. And whether I have a smile on my face and I look nice doesn't matter if my energy is, I'm in a rush. Who are these people? Are they good enough to work on my car? Like all these things that I imagine someone who doesn't do the inner work that I've done to be the human that I am, who might be put in a pickle like that and have to choose a random car plate, because this wasn't necessarily where I would have gone to get tires, right? I would have chosen something else, but it was the closest thing to me. And so I was
Yeah.
left in that situation and I had the choice. I think it comes down to that. It's like we have the choice, your tire, my tire. How do you respond to that? Are you going to spiral out and get all upset and you're just, well, I needed this and I've got to be here by then? Or are you just going to go, okay, like, you know, yay, like, that, okay. Because
Yeah.
what's meant for me will be, and that is this
Well,
year's motto, but
exactly.
it is for the rest of my life because it has brought me the best experience.
Well, and I think for a lot of people, the way I kind of see it is, let's say you're at the top of this hill, right? And so, like you said, you've done a lot of inner work. But a lot of people are kind of trying to do the inner work when they're at the top of the hill and their car has been rolling, 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 right? And this thing has got so much momentum, you try to stop it, you're going to get flattened like a freaking pancake.
True.
And so you've got all this negative momentum going. You personally have a lot of positive momentum going, and you've really put the work in for that. And so now when something comes up like that, it can be so easy to be like, hee, okay. And I think that's kind of where a lot of people beat themselves up is they might be sitting somewhere, right, around depression, powerlessness, just and beating themselves up because they're not feeling this joy that they know they can feel.
Mhm.
But when you're in this depressed mode and you have a lot of momentum going on this, and there are still areas in my life that that's true, where it's like, oh, in these areas, maybe not so much depression and powerless anymore. But this morning I was sitting with the feeling of jealousy. And it's like, okay, I can't get to joy from jealousy, but I can get to boredom from
Mhm.
jealousy. I could get to anger from jealousy, and these emotions feel a little bit better. I can just slowly work my way up and start to build that momentum. And so I think, if someone's having a really rough day and they see someone like us who's very bubbly and positive, they're probably going to be like, go the fuck away.
This is facts. This is 100% facts. Have experienced this. Yes.
Right? And so it's just kind of like you got to let people be where their momentum is. But at the same time, it's not as much of a struggle as people think it is, I don't think, to get yourself to that positive momentum, right? And sometimes we can't start it when we're in the middle of our flat tire. Sometimes it's just gotta be like, well, in the morning I wake up, I've got this fresh sheet of paper. No emotions have happened yet. Nothing has happened yet. I'll be grateful for the fact that I've got a comfy blanket. you know? And it really is just kind of pivoting, right? Just kind of being like, okay, well, I don't want that one. I don't want that belief to show up in my reality. So now I'll kind of poke around until I find a belief that feels better to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still use one of the techniques they taught us at the program we went to forever ago. And it was one where, like, when a thought comes up, whether it's negative or unwanted of any kind, you just say cancel, delete, no thank you.
Mhm.
And I still do that all the time. If it's someone else around me who like will say something, it's clearly a belief that I'm like, no, cancel, thank you. Like internally, everybody. Like I'm not saying this out loud to someone's face. That would be terrible. But like
My voice goes,
internally, I'll be like, that sounds so interesting. And in my head, it's like, cancel, delete. No, no, thank you. Cancel, cancel. And I'm just
what,
like,
what was it that he said? He said, oh wow, I've never thought of it that way. And in my head, the voice literally goes, pivot. My God, if people knew what was up in this brain sometimes.
And I think that that's the beauty. I wish they did. That's why we're doing these conversations, because the
Yeah.
point is you and I are doing very weird things to be able to maintain our mental health, right? Pivot. Like what? Why not? Right? If that's what gets you to stay so aware and conscious in your brain that you're not allowing yourself to be seated
Yes.
unconsciously by things, because
God,
everything
that
that people say,
awareness. Yes.
it's so important. And I don't, it's so important because a single belief that you pick up in when you're in an
Mhm.
open state can change your life forever. And you
Yeah.
might unknowingly carry that belief with you for the rest of your life. Someone was telling me a belief recently, and they were like, they said, I have this belief that I think I picked up somewhere and I don't know where. And I was like, okay, cool.
Mhm.
Talk to me about it. And they're like, I have this belief that I think I heard somewhere. So I already know that it's something that they know they picked up. So I
Mhm.
think I heard somewhere one or two different people say that NLP, which for those who don't know, neuro linguistic programming, it's how you can shift your subconscious mind and reprogram it so you behave differently. Well, he
Mhm.
claimed that he wasn't sure if people with ADHD respond well and can actually do NLP and make it stick and work. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, interesting. I had never thought about that before. And I was like, something that's such a problem in his world is something that I work with people all the time, every day, and I've never faced that problem before. And I was like, interesting. I never thought about that before. Can you tell me more? And
Yeah.
he kept just telling me about how, well, I think I read in two different places, two different people say something about how it just doesn't really stick and work as well for people with ADHD. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, can you tell me where the logic is? Like, what's the meaning? What's the concrete evidence of like, why would that be that way? Because I'm over
Mhm.
here thinking I've worked with plenty of people with ADHD and like, what did I do different? And so
I
it
feel like
kept
it would be
going.
the biggest relief for those with ADHD.
Right. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, if it works with children, why wouldn't it work with people with ADHD? I mean, a neurospicy brain is still a brain. And so
Neurospicy.
So all this to say, it kept going and asking questions because that's what I do is just ask really good questions and drilling down and come to find out he was just blanketing his experience across everybody else, which is what we do when we have baggage, which is
Mhm.
he was saying, oh, well, I think that I read it in this one book, which was written by someone who was very influential in his world. And so I was
Okay.
like, okay, that's already like a one source. And then next it was, and I worked with two coaches who were trained under that source who I didn't get results with either of them. Okay, so we have one source and two coaches that have now created this concrete belief in his world that he can't get help and nobody like him can get help. How disempowering is that? Like to
Yeah.
me, and I have to stay
Yeah.
super neutral in this conversation. I had to be like super neutral land because I don't actually know. I told him, great, you gave me something new to go and research before I talk to you more. Something I get to
Mm.
go learn about this now. Is this something that people struggle with? Was the reason I was getting results for people because I had an unawareness of this factor at play. And because I was
Mhm.
unaware, my belief was so strong. that it works for every single person out there who
Yeah.
wants it to work, right? You have to actually consent. And if you consent in my world, that means it's going to work.
Yeah.
And so it was so curious to me how reading one thing, hearing one thing, and not being protective of your mind can then turn
Mhm.
into years of you chasing results and not getting them because you don't realize you have this one belief that is literally saying the method you're using won't work for you. The method you're using won't work for you.
Mm.
Of course, you're not going to see results. And so that brings me back to like find something that works, whether it's pivot or whether it's cancel, delete, like whatever it is, find something. Because if I was to
Yeah.
read that, because I did read the same book he read, and I was like, I don't recall that. I actually need to
Okay.
go find the book because I'm pretty sure I did read that and go cancel, delete. Pretty sure I read the same thing he did and he allowed it to disempower him. And I said, not in my world. And so I'm really curious. I'm gonna have to find the book. But all that to say, like our words are so powerful, and
They are.
the
They
words that
are.
we accept are
Yes.
powerful.
Yes. Yes.
Because I'm not going to tell you to your face your belief is stupid or that's limiting you unless you want me to. Ask me, say, hey, Jayna, put on your coaching hat for a minute. I'm going to talk to you about
Right?
some things. That's different. But if you're just like, hey, Jayna, I need girlfriend time. I just need a vent. I'm just going to listen. I'm going to be
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Cancel, delete, cancel, delete. Right. You know, you're good.
Well, and I feel like when you can really, like you said earlier, that word awareness and just being conscious, I feel like is one of the most powerful tools we can give ourselves because it's like then you can hear those words and you can ask yourself and you can stop and you can reflect and say, is this something that I want to experience in my physical reality? We now have the science to back what has been said by all these like Buddhist monks, or you have the quantum physics to back that how you observe a particle changes how that particle interacts with you. And so, if that's not something you want to see in your physical reality, then literally just that belief doesn't serve me.
Mhm.
Cancel, delete, pivot, right? And it's simple and it's easy, but it does take time. It does. And I feel like the more aware you become of it, and it can actually become a very fun process.
Mhm.
As I said this morning, you know, I was sitting with those feelings of jealousy because last night I got to run into someone who I wasn't expecting to see, and it was that instead of falling into that negative spiral, like you said, it could be so easy to do. It was like, wow, I have so much appreciation for this clarity. And I have so much appreciation that the universe said, hey, you now have the tools to deal with this. So we'll show you that this is still a high momentum area in your life. And before it gains any more momentum, perhaps we want to sit with it and chuck the momentum to the other side to the wanted part of momentum about this. And it was just overcome with that appreciation and that love and that gratitude for that moment of being like, wow, like, really, thank you for showing me that this is still something that's running a program in my mind and I don't want this anymore. So now I can sit because it's very much aware, very much in the front of my, vision right now, and I can say, what beliefs do I want? And how can I work myself there? And it is funny how that one thing really can really sit with you, especially when it's from someone so influential, right? It happens all throughout our childhood. We really love our mom and our dad, and sometimes they say some things that just don't serve us very well later on in life. And we've got to become conscious of that and aware of that and say, is that a belief I really want to carry around for the rest of my life? And
Yeah.
most of the time, no.
It's a very gentle way of putting that. You're so kind.
Mm.
Parents love us and they mean well. They really, truly do. And they can only see things through the experience of the lens they've had.
Yeah.
They are not you. And they will never see or experience things like you. And I love it.
And
My
they've
boss,
never lived in a planet with this much awareness either. So
no,
how could you even blame them?
or this much access, or
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
much, information, or
Mhm.
this much visibility, or any of it. Like,
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
so many parents harmed millennials, I believe, because they pushed them to the college route when college
Mm,
is completely unnecessary at this point in my belief system for what I do, right? Of course, there's a lot of like nuance to this conversation, and I just believe that the generation before millennials, you can't guide what's never been before, right? How do
mhm,
you give good advice when you've never really experienced it? Yes, things are cyclical. Yes, there are patterns. Yes, things repeat, and and I just I'm still having a hard time communicating to certain people around me the power of a digital online business because they
mm,
don't quite grasp how profitable they can be because
yeah,
there's so little overhead because the people I'm talking to are used to traditional business. They're used to having rent, employees, paychecks, and healthcare and all the things. And it's like, no, you can run very profitable businesses without any of that anymore because you can run a business with one or two people and
mhm,
one or two products and that's it and do very, very well and do it from anywhere in the world. And like to get them to
and
understand,
passively.
well, I mean, there's a lot of work up front and at the end, like, there is still that
Yeah,
aspect of, like, they just don't get it yet, and I
yeah.
think that, like, they're starting to see it, but to them, it's fake money, it's not real, and I always
Mm.
tell people until you're the one who's been paid by your DMs, you don't ever understand why some people spend so much time in their DMs.
Well, pennies are fake now too, so
Girl, I like that comeback. Well, and here's the thing, right? So many people in that generation, they grew up in the generation of you have to see it to believe it, right?
Mhm.
They're the type of people that need to see that bank account get filled up months and months and months on end for probably a few years before they actually believe that this is real, steady, and reliable, right? They
Yeah,
come from the see it to believe it world. I think millennials are probably the first generation that's finally shifting into understanding that you have to believe it to see it.
yeah.
Like, we seriously I cannot
I
drill this
just
into
got
people
goosebumps.
so much more. Like, this is the most important thing ever. You have to believe it to see it.
Yes,
And
yes.
if you, going back to what we were talking about, if you pick up other people's belief systems and you believe what they thought, you will see what they see and you will not see the things that are actually there right in front of you that if you had kept your original belief or developed your own belief you'd be able to see those because I swear I see things so clearly in my world but I face people who have such strong limiting beliefs
Yeah,
because of the pain in their past that I'm very aware of because the work that I do makes me very aware of not just my own baggage but a
yep,
lot of other
yep.
people and it can be hard to navigate those conversations with people
Mm,
because to me, it's so crystal clear. Like, to
yeah,
me, I've been studying these dynamics and quantum physics and masculine, feminine energy and all of these things that I can just see it. I'm like, well, duh, dichotomies. Well, duh, projection. Well, duh. And I just like, I get it. And it can be so hard to go up against those limiting beliefs. In fact, for me, I feel like sometimes that's my biggest hurdle is
mm,
getting through people's limiting beliefs because of course I can do that with a client because they're already consenting to be in a room. They're doing the work with me. There's a structured system. They trust me. Like there's a process. Boom. But before you get into a coaching session with me, how do I actually get you to like take that next step when
yeah.
you have such strong beliefs around that this will not work for me? Like, cool. Okay, then it's not going to work for you. And save my
Well,
time.
precisely, just as you said, right? If they have that belief, so there's two things here, right? One, a belief. The great thing about a belief, right? This like changed my world when I learned this. All the belief is a thought that you have felt for so long. It has now emotional momentum behind it. That's all a belief is. It is just a thought you have thought for a very long time,
Yeah.
right? So choose a different belief. Exactly, again, right? But also, I find if someone is very strong in their belief, then at some point we have to realize that's not a person that we can help right now,
Mm.
right? Because it's like if I try to reach into their experience, then they're going to not only build that negative momentum trying to prove their belief is right. And now they're adding more emotion to that and even more thought against that. And so it's like the best thing I can do is to just
Yep.
sayonara. Right? And sometimes you meet people like that, and it's a hard place to be because you are a very, very helpful person. And you really have a lot of passion. You really care and you really want to help people. And I think because, that's something I can struggle with as well. There are some relationships where I'm just like, oh, oh, I could unlock so much for you if you just let me.
Yep.
And it's like, all right, I'm not going to meet you where you're at.
Right.
You're not going to meet me where I'm at.
Yep.
Okay.
And you're right, like, pushing with people like that, it's just gonna do more harm than good, and,
Mhm.
there is a level of, like, my belief as a coach matters and all of these things, but if I don't vet the person to ensure that they are ready for this change,
Yeah.
then I am doing more harm than good, and that's such a predominant thought in my mind when I take a client on. It's not, can they afford it? It's not, do I have time in my schedule? It is, are they effing ready for this? Because if they're not actually ready for this, it's a no. It's a hard no for me
Mhm.
because I have failed people, only a few, and that's all that it took. And
Mm.
I have failed people. I had a woman I worked with for nearly 6 months. I think I canceled on her the last 2 sessions. I ended the contract early simply because she was backsliding every single session, and I couldn't understand
Mm.
why. I'm like, "We made such great progress," and I was, like, so excited, and she'd come back 2 weeks later, and she just backslid. And I was
Mm.
like, "Okay, this isn't working, like, what's happening?" And then I finally, like, my inner knowing was like, "She doesn't believe in it. Like, she doesn't believe it's gonna work." And I was like, "Oh." So I told her, I was like, I don't think that I'm the right coach for you. That's the way I positioned it because that's truly what I feel. It's not that she's broken. It's not that she can't change. It's that I was not the right person to bring her to that change, to guide her through the process. So I told her, I don't think I'm the right fit for you. I think it's probably best for you to find another coach to help you actually get the results you're looking for, right? Because I'm very firm. If you're not getting results, especially by 6 months, then I'm going to refer you out to someone else. Um,
Yeah.
she looked at me and goes, "Oh, I knew it wasn't gonna work." And I was like, literally with a smile on like that. Like, she's like, "Oh, I knew it wasn't gonna work." And I was like, "That you you just told me this a month ago, 2 months ago, 6 months ago, anything." And, like,
Yeah.
it literally was like, "Oh my god." In that I wanted to scream, and I didn't. I held myself together, got off the call, and then screamed because I was like, my belief that this is going to work for her is not gonna override someone's belief that it's not going to work for them.
Yes.
If they
Yes.
are questionable whether it'll work, but they trust me, oh, I can work with that all day. As long as you trust me,
Yeah.
then my belief will transfer like rapport. But if you
Wasn't
are
it like Bruce Lee? I think it was Bruce Lee who was like, his father always told him, he's like, that'll never happen as long as I live. And he became successful after his dad died. And it's like, our beliefs really do shape our, he's like, all right, I guess it did have to, like,
yeah.
I think that was Bruce Lee, but don't quote me on that.
Well, and this is where the words and the power of the words is
Yeah.
like there's so many scenarios in life, and whether that was just some random thing which some people claim, or energy and actual self-fulfilling prophecy, I that's more the side of the spectrum I live on, and I know you live on, because the idea is if we lived in a world that was just random and like, oh, funny that he said that, but that was random, that leaves us with no control.
Yeah.
But if we live in a world that like, "Oh, wow, our words really do matter. My beliefs do matter. Let me be more aware. Let me be more um mindful of how I'm speaking. Let me listen to myself more. Let me slow down, be intentional." I pause a lot. I also speak very fast when I'm like super excited, but like
I know. We
I
both get really excited.
tend to pause. So one for the effect of like it landing, and two to let my brain kind of process because I go
Mm.
so fast in my brain that like my lips can't keep up sometimes, and so it like it just bleh. And so you gotta like slow the brain down a little bit there. Uh, People are like, "How do you do this so well? You didn't do? Were you using a teleprompter?" I'm like, "No," and they're like, "You didn't say any ums and ahs," and I was like, "Yeah, it was so painful inside because I was like." And the event will be at like I was going so slow so that my brain could like put the sentence together first. They're like, "This looks so professional." I'm like, "Thanks." I'm like, but, we just everything's energy, and it's really important to navigate things like this with, like, powerful words. We can
Mhm.
make a situation harder on ourselves with just our language, right? We can make a situation a lot easier if we just use different language. I
Yeah.
experience that 3 times a week in the gym because the days that I complain suck. And the days that I'm like, like, "Wait, baby," like, when we, like, get into it, I'm like, "I'm so strong today." That's because my mind went in the room strong, and my words
Yeah.
were strong, and the things I was talking about with my trainer were strong, and then my muscles followed. But when we're weak-minded, weak thoughts, weak words, and we go into the gym, of course we can't push the same amount of weight. Like, duh, that's muscle testing. That's kinesiology.
Yes, yes, and many studies to back that as well. It's so funny to me. A lot lately, I've been getting a lot of comments at the gym, like, "Oh, you look so strong. Like, what are you doing different? Like, what's your diet like? What's your workout like?" And I'm like, "You're gonna call me crazy when I tell you that the only thing I've changed is what's going on in here when I'm at the gym." They're like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Literally, I just when I'm at the gym and I'm working a certain muscle, I picture how I want that muscle to look on my body."
Oh.
They're like, "But you're looking so strong." And I'm like, "Mm-hmm. My body's catching up to my mind."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Well, how much protein do you eat?" I don't know. "What kind of meal protein?" I eat what I want to eat. And it's like this is truly what has changed for me is it's just like I've really focused and that same type of thing when I go in there and a very powerful process that I've been using for me personally is segment intending. And so I'll wake up in the morning and I'll be like, well, what's my intention? Well, I just want to feel some gratitude, get myself right off on the right foot, right? I want to feel appreciation for this moment. You get up and you make a meal, and I'm like, I really want this meal to nourish me and to feed all the cells it needs to feed in order to obtain all the goals and desires that I have. Get in my car. I'd like to arrive there safely. And while I'm driving, I'd like to notice 10 things that I appreciate about my drive, right? And when you get into the gym, I'm like, every time it's like, I just want to go play. I just want to go play with my playground. That's it. And when you do that and you set that up before you go in, yes, if there's still some negative momentum behind that, then you might still need some cleaning up. But after you do it enough, it's just, oh,
Mm.
this is so fun. This is so I love it here.
And
This is such a fun time at the gym. Like,
as a result, your cortisol is lower and your hormones are a lot better. It's the observer effect too, right? Like, because you're
yes.
observing the cell in the way you intend it to be, so the cell can do nothing but match that. And so, yeah, powerful, super powerful. I am curious, like, similarly, I was on a flight recently, and um, I tend to wear headphones because going in and out of Orlando, there's always kids on flights. And so I'm on this flight, and there was a kid.
Love this.
Oh, yes, we love kids here. I do, really. Ones that
We
are
do
not
love
mine.
kids when they're not from us.
And yeah, we don't have any, so that I don't have to love anything. I just get to love them. So there was there was a family sitting in the row across the aisle, but just one kind of row back from me. And they had 2 small children, 1 toddler and 1, not infant, but like 1-year-old maybe.
Mhm.
And, so we're going, the toddler, totally fine. 1-year-old screaming like a maniac the entire
Hmm.
flight. So I do some certain things on flights. So I was doing one portion of it and put my headphones on, and I'm like, get done with it. And then I was like, okay, let me just sit here and meditate, um, on the music in my headphones so that I can silence out that noise because it was
Yeah.
like driving me up a wall because I don't have kids. So screaming babies for me is like even more nails on a chalkboard. So it's like I don't have that patience level developed that most parents do. So
Mhm. Kudos to
here
them.
I
Kudos to them.
so I'm meditating and listening to these headphones and like really focusing on the music in the headphones, really focusing. And I lose it. Like I tuned it out, and I know she didn't stop screaming because the lungs on that little girl are powerful. Like, but it like was faded into the background. And
Yeah.
then I got to a point to where I started to feel bad for the mom who was holding the baby, because I could feel her nervousness and how she's like, everybody's staring at me. I can't get her to be quiet. I've tried everything. And like, I could just hear her words in my head. So I was like, okay, Jayna, enough being selfish. Use your energy to help others. And so I started to take the peaceful, calm energy that I had. And I know that babies reflect the nervous system of the mother. So I was sending that energy to the mom. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to take my aura, I'm just going to extend it over right across. And I just was meditating on peace, on calm, on safety. I am loved. I am safe. I'm okay. Everything's fine. Like, and I just kept meditating on these things. And then lo and behold, baby stops crying. And I was like, okay, cool. I can go back to listening to my stuff.
I'm gonna
Well,
hit you up next time I go to the dog park and Chancey's throwing a tantrum.
yes, right. Just text me. I'll sit and meditate. I well, this baby, the moment I stopped doing it, back to it. Lungs of a like champion here, and like I'm like, this is our next singer. Like, put her in a pop star mic. Like, she's got lungs for days. So I was like, oh, okay, Jayna,
She
you're
might
being
be the
selfish
next
again.
motivational speaker. She's gonna be learning from you, girl.
I'm saying, man, this girl had lungs. So I'm sitting here and I was like, okay, cool. Let me go back, sending peace to mom, sending peace to baby. And now I was like, you know what? Stop being selfish. You got enough energy for this. I sent it to the whole plane. And so at this point, I had basically bubbled up this entire plane, sending this calm, peaceful energy. There was not a peep from anybody the rest of the flight. There was no kids, no noise, no disturbances, no nothing. Everybody was happy. Everything was good. And I'm sitting here journaling while still constantly I'm still in a realm where I have to be conscious of what I'm doing energy wise. Like, I can't just set it and forget it mode yet. And so
Yeah.
I'm journaling about all this, and I'm like, I am never getting on another flight that I don't send peace and love to the entire plane the entire time. I'm never dealing with another crying baby. And like, it was just the fact of like, could it have been the observer effect? Could it have been something random? Sure. Does it give me more control? And
Mhm.
yeah. Does it hurt anybody? No. I'm
Does
literally
it
sending peace
feel
and love.
better?
I'm like sending peace and love and helping my baby stop crying. Like, and either way, I think that just at a basic level,
Mhm.
collectively, imagine being a mom in a tin can with a screaming baby and 160 other people. I would feel like every eyeball is on me. I would feel
Yeah.
like everybody is thinking, I'd hear all their words in my head. Shut her up. Be quiet. I'm going to throw that baby off this plane. No, whatever it is that people think, these crazy things, right? People get wild in the air.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, what if, we don't have to talk about it, but like, what if everyone just naturally around this woman or everyone on the plane just naturally was sending loving energy? Like, what if that was our go to? If there's a disturbance in a plane or in the public, what if our go to wasn't to judge people and to put more
Mhm.
pressure and more eyeballs, but instead to go, "Oh, I'm sorry they're having such a tough day. I'm just going to send them some love real quick."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it because so many people feel like their love well is run dry because we're living in a world that it's hard to fill that back up? I don't know. But
Mhm.
I really wish more people would have that and have that experience I did, because it really felt super selfish for me to be like, I know that I have this ability to tune this out. Let me use my skills to do this. And like, I know what I can do mentally to do that. And it was like, no, but let me do this with mom and like bring her in on this and like help her out too. And then for it to immediately stop and start again, it was just a very intriguing moment for me to be able to kind of
Yeah.
see how that works. And same thing with like your workouts, you're noticing that you're directing your thoughts in a certain way and you're seeing a certain result. I think that everything in life is that way.
Yeah.
And there is still a dichotomy, right? You direct too much thought to something and now you're attached to the thing. Like, you have an attachment to it and you have
Mhm.
push energy and you end up scaring things away. Not enough attachment and you're totally detached and people think you're not interested anymore. You got to have that middle
Mhm.
ground where we have enough attachment to something, but not so much that it's an obsession with something or a
Yeah.
need for it, right? That ability to have it, but just be grateful it's here for now, but not have to need it all the time.
I find the way for me that works best to find like kind of middle ground is what is the thing that I want, right? Let's say money. Everybody loves more money. You could be a freaking multimillionaire. You still want more money, right? Okay, what's the feeling that
Mhm.
I feel like I will have once I have this? Ooh, more joy, more freedom. Well, I have joy and freedom in my current life. Let me find out where. Oh, I can feel that now. And now it's so much less about that money that I want. And it's so much more about, I just know that that's the feeling I want to embody. And just as you did on that plane where you're like, okay, there is a lot around me that I could focus on that is maybe not so fun to focus on. Like, but I could also choose to focus on what I can control, my music. I can journal. I can really tune in here until it's kind of like background noise and then not hear it at all. And then not only that, I can push these feelings out now since they're so strong in me. And I think that's such a powerful place to be, you know? And I will say it's kind of like one of the most fun points of meditation that I've reached when it's like I can still hear the thoughts, and the way I describe it, I'm like, it's when you're sitting in a restaurant and you know there's music playing, but you're so into your friend's story that you don't even really hear the music. Like,
Yes.
yes, if you were to tune to it, maybe, but you don't even notice it's there. And now you're just really into your friend and their story and what they're talking about. It's so exciting and thrilling. And that's a very powerful place to reach when you're like, okay, yes, there are a lot of things that I could focus on right now that would be not so fun. Or there's a lot of things I could focus on that could be lots of fun.
Yeah.
That pivot.
And there's always a choice. Like, even the most
Always.
shitty situations can be seen as beautiful if we allow ourselves to go there. And that can be really painful for people who have never done that before. If you're not used to reframing yourself in situations, I mean, like, there's a difference between reframing yourself after a situation and in a situation. And
And before a situation, so you never even end up in that situation in the first place.
exactly,
Miss, I'm
exactly.
never gonna get on a plane before I reframe.
I mean, the idea of like some people, they struggle enough with reframing something that happened in the past,
Yeah.
let alone being in a situation and having a reframe and then trying to navigate that juxtaposition of like, but this is what I feel, but this is what I'm trying to tell myself in the head. And like, how do I get myself to, like you said, feel the thing, right? Because
Yeah.
a lot of people, we don't realize we're chasing a feeling. The status
Mhm.
is chasing a feeling. The money is chasing a feeling. The body is chasing a feeling. The relationship is chasing a feeling. Everything in life is chasing an experience or a feeling. Sadly, we look at someone else and we fill in the gap. We assume that they feel a certain way because of the body or the thing. People look at you and they go, you look really strong. They assume that it means that you're going to feel these things or think these things about yourself or this, that, and the other. And then when they get to where they look like you and they don't feel those things, then they're
Mm.
lost. And they're like, what? It's like the people who look at a guy in the sports car who pulls up to the restaurant, hands the keys to the valet, and da 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 and on, and they're like, "Oh, he looks so cool, so confident. He looks so chill, like he's got everything to put together, and he looks this and that." And you actually get to a point where you get a car like that, and your insecurities are through the roof. And where do I park it? Is someone going to scratch my car? What if the valet steals something? You have
Yeah.
everything opposite of those things going through your head, and it's like, did you really want the car because you're a car guy and you really enjoy the feel of the motor and the sound and
Yeah.
the experience of being in the car and driving the car? No. A lot of people are buying it not because they're a car person, because they want the experience of feeling what they thought they were going to feel in that experience. And what a sad day for people who spend their entire lives chasing the thought of an experience and never actually get the
Mhm.
experience. It's like people who think becoming a celebrity or being famous is going to change their life because it's so glamorous and the money and the popularity and like, oh yeah, and the death threats and the never being able to go somewhere without security and the having to have 3 phone lines and never being and having everyone wanting something from you and like the list goes on. That's
Yeah.
life. Everything in life has a pro and a con. Everything in life has a dichotomy to it. I think that we have to be really, really aware. Again, I think that's the episode's theme. Like, right? It's like the awareness of if I the right way to do it. If I look at you, Cabrina, and I go, wow, Cabrina, you really have let's stick with fitness. You really have your fitness together and I absolutely adore, yes, them guns. I want to be like you. Can you tell me more about what your life is like right now, like the experience you have in the fitness, and like actually ask somebody about what life is like being the thing they're looking to be? It's if someone thinks that going on stage as a bodybuilder is all fun and games, you are mistaken. You need to go talk to a couple bodybuilders because they are miserable on stage. They literally are so deprived. They're so hungry. They can barely breathe because they're squeezing every ounce of everything. Like, go talk to a bodybuilder about the
Mhm.
experience of bodybuilding because it's not 10 minutes on stage. It's 2 years of work to get to that 10 minutes on stage. And if you haven't properly done your market research and actually talked to people who have done that experience, you might be setting yourself up for a very, very big disappointing moment where you win and you get the belt and you stand there and you're like, this is it? Where's all the hot chicks? Where's all the sexy guys? Like
Yes.
where's the
It,
accolades? She's a
it's
couple posts on
it's
Instagram. Nobody liked it. Like what?
it's kind of that saying of no matter where you go, you take yourself with you, right? And what that means is like that mindset that you've been practicing, you take that with you. And so I remember when I first started making a lot of money, and it was a very nice place to be. I was very excited for it. And yet here I am making the most amount of money that I've ever felt. And there's this like anxiety, right? And there was this competitiveness and still this feeling of lack. And it was like, what is that about? Like, literally, me a year ago would be gawking, like, girl, we did what? And what's so funny to me is now um recognizing that and becoming aware of it, right? And thank you again for that contrast and showing me like, right, that oh, this is a pattern that's in my mind even though my physical reality doesn't even prove this, right? And it's like, okay, now when I find myself in those moments of like anxiety or resistance, it's I stop and sometimes I just go and I take a drive with good music and the dogs. Sometimes it's like just do anything else that isn't this. And magically, with the most amount of ease that I have ever experienced in my life, when I just breathe and calm down and refocus myself. And anyway, sometimes you just need a distraction.
Yeah.
Sometimes this feeling has so much momentum, you've got to completely go on a different road. You're like, I can't go down, I can't stop this car going a million miles per hour, but I can feel better if I go and I just enjoy some music that I've always liked, right? And when I would do that, it was like, wow, I'm working so many less hours, so much less resistance and stress and anxiety around work. And I am making more than when I first started. And I was like, holy what is this kind of money? And it's just that ease of knowing that it's there, knowing it's available to me, and the only thing that's stopping me is my resistance to it and the I have to grind it, grind it, grind it, right? And it's just been a very fun process to go through that, to realize like, I'm actually doing better when I'm enjoying it.
Who would have
But
thought?
we live in this society where it's like go, 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 right? And I can't even blame anybody who feels this way.
Yeah.
What are we taught? Like literally someone look at me and they go, Wouldn't that be lazy? Perhaps. I guess if that's the word you want to choose for it, yeah. Perhaps. They're
I
like,
don't
but
think it's lazy.
when
It's
you're scheduled to work, shouldn't you, go work? Not if I don't feel the joy in it.
but that's the life you've built by building a business of your own, being an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, someone who sets your own schedule. And there's pros and cons to everything,
Yeah.
including setting your own schedule, right? Because I mean,
Yes.
if we look back 5 years, you were working like 6, 7 days a week. Like I feel like you were working 24/7 nonstop.
Well, I did need sleep, but yeah, that was about the only time that my resistance would take a pause. And even then, like now, I can sleep so much longer and so much more restful. And yes, there was definitely a time in my life where it was over 100 hours a week. And I'm looking at this year. I took a whole month off in April to go enjoy Japan. I took 2 weeks off at the end of this month. There are some days in the month that I'd be like, I'm going to take a 3 day weekend. I'm going to take a 2 day weekend. There are some days where I'd only take one because it felt right. And I will make more money this year taking more rest. It's crazy. It's mind-boggling. And even this morning, sitting with those feelings that I had of like big emotions and just being able to say, wow, Sabrina 3 months ago would have straight down the drain. And it's like that is such a beautiful place to be.
What do you do in those moments when you have the heavy things come up and you still have to function? I mean, how do you keep showing up in work and slap on the happy face and do the things you got to do?
I'm pretty blessed in the way where typically if I am really struggling and really got a lot of negative momentum going, typically the thing that brings me the most joy at that moment is work. And so I am very blessed that I get to do something that I love and that I feel a lot of passion towards. Um, and so that distraction, like I said, right? Sometimes this road is so freaking fast with a lot of trees on it that I'm like, oh, gotta go completely detour over here. And most of the time that's work. Sometimes I get really heavy in work and sometimes work feels like the resistance. And at that point, I'm like I said, let's go take a nap. Let's go take a drive, or even just like a 5 minute little break if that's what feels good. And so, um, I don't want to encourage people to all of a sudden be like, oh, well, work doesn't feel good. So I'm going to like stop doing that.
Right.
Because there's going to be a lot of resistance and momentum towards that when you feel that angst. Like if you feel like you need to work, then you're not going to be able to relax when your whole body is like work, 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 right? And so there is kind of that working with your mind until it gets there. And it was not an overnight thing. I think when I first started, it was like a day, and taking a day off felt like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, because you thought you were gonna lose it all, right? I mean, it feels like if you let it slip at all, I mean, it's gone, out of sight, out of mind, on to the next thing. We're done.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of businesses feel that way. Um,
Like white knuckling it so I
yeah,
can't go anywhere.
it's like, no, I think you'll be okay. Like it's I think you'll be fine. But we don't always know that, and that that angst that I got to do this, I need to go, go, go. That's our masculine energy, which is very like push, 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 make this work, make this happen. And I think what you're experiencing and the reason why you're seeing this multiplicity of your income is that you are sitting there in your feminine, your magnetism. You are attracting. So while it feels like you might be doing less because you're sitting by a pool or getting a massage or going for a walk, you are increasing your energy. You are now magnetizing all of those things so that when you go back to work to go take those actions, you have all these new opportunities waiting because they have
Yeah.
now attracted to you. Versus
Yes.
when you don't take that rest and we just go, 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 it gets to a point where everything's just getting pushed away from us.
Yeah, and then the interactions I do have in those moments where it's a lot of resistance and like I have to do this, I'm not showing up in a way that is digestible to the person that I want to show up to. And that's not how I want to show up. I want to show up as my authentic self, which is this playful, joyful, fun person. And it's funny, even as we're talking right now, I mistakenly forgot to silence some notifications. And here we are talking about that feminine energy and just letting it attract. And now old Cabrina would have been like, oh, gotta be online, gotta be online, gotta be online, clicking around every 5 minutes. So people see I'm online, blah, blah, blah. And one of my favorite customers just hit me up and they love to spend. And it is always the most fun little role plays I ever get to dabble in. This person is so creative. I freaking adore it. And I'm real excited to get to that. And I did absolutely nothing. I just upped the joy a little bit and started talking about how much I love about work. I think as well as how we had talked about, when you're on the plane and there's always something to appreciate, I do find that a process that works for me is like if I'm feeling pretty burnt out with work, if my workout, this or that, I write a list of things that I can appreciate. And sometimes that list can be about the direct thing. Like sometimes it's like, okay, work. I love the freedom I get with work. I love that I work from home. There's so many things that I love about work. But let's say, there's a relationship that has always kind of had this momentum and resistance that I've allowed lazily without maintaining my thoughts about said relationship. Sometimes what that takes is like, okay, this is pretty hard to look at. But if I look over here at my dog, Chansey, I love her eyes. Oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. And now with this newfound joy and this new view, maybe I can go over here instead of being like, I hate this person. It can be like, I appreciate the contrast they give me. I
Mhm.
appreciate the clarity they give me in this situation. And even though I may not have ever seen it before in my life, I can now close my eyes and picture this person as a joyous person and us having a harmonious, interaction. And so I think sometimes we like really try to wrestle and beat things down to the ground.
Mm.
And I think if you're feeling that resistance, then you just gotta find a way to release it just a little bit, whatever that looks like, whether that's finding a way to appreciate what that is or whether that's getting on a completely new topic. And I know logically it may not make sense because we're all so goal oriented.
It
But once
makes
you
sense to
practice it a
me.
little bit,
It makes sense to me with the modalities that I use. In somatics, this is called pendulation, is what you just described.
ooh,
To
describe.
swing like a pendulum, right? So pendulation is to swing from, say, a spicy memory or something that might be a little bit traumatic or sad or
Oh, I
overly
was thinking
exciting.
spicy the other
Oh,
way. Okay,
not that
sorry.
one. Sorry. No.
Like, do tell.
Like big T trauma. Like so you have a memory that you don't really like, and yet you want to let it go. And part of letting things go is being exposed to them over and over. But if you go straight into that memory, you might spiral and have this massive PTSD moment, right? So we can't do that. What we can do is we can kind of go into it for just a split second and then come back out. And we can instead then swing to a safe memory, us cuddling on the couch with our puppos. And we just sit there and we're like, oh, that feels so good. I'm so safe. Okay, we're going to swing back over here. Ooh, this is uncomfortable. We're going to sit here for 2-3 seconds. Okay, swing back to safety. Then 5 seconds in safety. Then 10. The next thing you know, you're spending 90 seconds in this memory. You come out, you're not a blubbering mess, and you're like, I now have power over this memory because I can go into it and not have an emotional response. And it's not necessarily about like numbing it out. It's about being exposed to it so much you sit with it that you actually learn the lesson. Because when we're not willing to look at it, you can't take away a learning lesson from that. And we keep the emotion as like a placeholder for the learnings. And the moment you get the learning, you can let that energy go because you don't need the emotions to remind you of that anymore because now we have the lesson. And so I think it's a really great thing. Like pendulation is something. You also described titration, which is another somatic term earlier. That's I like to think of it as to stretch. So titration. And what that is really it's easing into things, starting little, and getting bigger and bigger and bigger with those. Whether that's a small habit that we have where it's like, oh, I'm going to read 1 page today. And the next week, maybe it's 10 pages and then it's 100 pages. Then it's, so you're easing into something. So you can use both pendulation and titration together. So where you're swinging from that safe to unsafe, and the unsafe memory just gets bigger and bigger. That's using those two together. So just a little tidbit for you. Fun fact of the day.
That's actually how I started meditation. I was like, holy God, 15 minutes seems like a lot. Got too much on my plate for that. And I was like, what could I commit to? I could commit to a minute.
There you go.
Shoot, you could do that on the toilet.
Sometimes a minute's all we need. Sometimes it's better than nothing. And
Well, and here's a fun thing that this is a belief that I choose to pick up, and I believe, but I believe it only truly takes 17 seconds if you're really to focus and think on something powerful for just 17 seconds. All these other thoughts that match it are going to come to it. And that's all it takes is 17 seconds
Yeah.
to
On
just
the
kind of be like,
positive side and 90 on the negative.
yeah. But if you just do that, right, and you're like, oh, just this 17 seconds here, oh, just this 17 seconds here, oh, just this, just this, just this, right? Eventually, you will reach that tipping point where you can be in the middle of that negative emotion, feel that appreciation and joy for it. Be like, God, I love this contrast. I am so much more clear on
Mhm.
what I want. It's like going on a bunch of dates, right? We talk about this in this realm, so this should be easy to translate. You know, this is talked about a lot. You go on a lot of dates to figure out exactly what you like in a partner,
Right.
right? And so it's like, okay, well, I like that this partner had this quality. And I like that this partner had this quality. And I like that this partner had this quality. Oh, I didn't like that one so much. But I like this one and this one and this one. It's like going to the buffet,
Yeah.
right? And just being like, I can pick whatever I want. I can pick whatever I want. But you don't know if you like lasagna more than you like an eggplant parmesan if you've never had an eggplant parmesan or lasagna, right? And then it's also quite silly, you know, when we want to focus on the negative side of being like, well, I don't like bell peppers. Why is it in this buffet? Well, then just don't grab the bell pepper then. But why is it here? And it's like, just don't grab the bell pepper. What would you'd like a pie instead? Let's go get you a pie. And so to me now, when I have those, like, I guess, you know, negative experiences, it's kind of like, wow, that is such clarity. And from being more clear on what I don't want always makes me more clear on what I do want.
Hmm.
And now, pivot.
I love it so much. Well, it's so true because sometimes we think we know what we want and we say it and then we get an experience and the universe is like, "Oh, this is what you wanted?" And it gives it to us and we're like, "Oh, not exactly like that." And it's like, "Well." It's like,
It's like,
"Oh,
yes, and you say
yeah."
that one a lot. Yes, and
The
yeah,
and the subconscious mind is very literal. So, be very specific cuz yeah, be specific and literal.
yeah. You know, with my last partner, very, very great partner that I was with. I adored him. I loved him. He was an amazing man. And it was so funny. One time we're sitting in my kitchen, and on my fridge, I had had this list that you had actually motivated me to do about writing every quality that we want in a man. And I'm reading through it. And I was like, this guy's really got it all. Everything I wrote on this list, this guy has down to loves to buy me flowers weekly. Like, wow, amazing. And then through the relationship, I learned that I would also like someone who supports my career. I would
Mhm.
also like someone who is playful. I would also like, and so it's like, these are amazing qualities that this partner had. Amazing, you know, and great guy, amazing guy. And I'd also like this.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's so true that because you can check all 10 of those boxes and still not have the person that's right for you. Like we can
Yeah,
have that's in dating, that's in client life, right? You can attract a client who ticks all the boxes as an ideal client, but is still not a great fit. And
yeah,
the idea that we're always learning and growing. I mean, I know you and I, and you're whoever is lining up for partner role for you has like a mountain to climb because
there are some fun little lures in the water, I must say.
I can't wait to hear about those off air. I mean, we're off the record now, but we'll be off the record later.
That will
So,
be off the record. Yes.
and I mean, ideally, we want to continue to grow. And so what was an ideal client even just yesterday or a perfect match just yesterday can be very different today. Because
Yeah.
like you said, you have great people come into our lives and you learn, "Oh, I didn't realize this is actually a deal breaker," or "This is something I need to have on this must-have list. I can knock this other one off because it's okay." Because that'll end up being a byproduct. Because if someone supports your career, the byproduct is they're also, this, and this, right? So sometimes it's about getting more clear, but also like being not always more specific. Sometimes it's a little bit more ambiguous. Sometimes your
Mm.
language being just phrased differently can impact things. But I think the fact of you, I'm hoping that do you like keep that list on your fridge? Is that what you said? Because did he come over on like a date and read the list and like start being all those things? Because if so, your cheater pumpkin eater.
It was on the fridge on a magnet. But behind one of my peer recognitions from when I had like volunteered. Yeah. And there's also like lists I had in the notes app on the phone and things like that. And to me, I just love that clarity, right? Like you're just kind of fine tuning it, right? And like you said, sometimes that's giving up a little bit, and not giving up. That's not the right word, but to be kind of like reword it in a different way.
Yeah.
But you become more clear and conscious of that if you're willing to really take a look at it. And Cabrina, when she first started dating, was just like, yay, a man who pays attention to me.
The bar was a little
She's
bit
a
low.
lot more clear now. She's a lot more clear now.
Like, oh, he has 3 legs. Awesome. I'll work with that.
Girl, like kind of 3 legs.
Well, you know what? Maybe we just crack the code. Maybe leaving little lists around our apartments and houses and bedrooms in drawers and stuff to subconsciously and subliminally program them to be what we want. Maybe that's the real jam. It's like we just write little notes of like, he's kind. He brings me flowers. He leaves
Oh,
me
this
love
is
notes.
great. This is great.
So that he's like in your bathroom the first time and he's like, oh, wow. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Well, let's plan on here some of the aspects. We'll be watching this later. So yeah, plant the list in the background here.
Exactly. It's like, sometimes you got to get creative with dating. We just need to make a shirt for you that has like a QR code on the front and on like the back, like the list of things they have to meet. And they can just like QR code, check the boxes, apply. Use the algorithms in our favor. I mean, these algorithms are crazy these days. I mean, I swear I don't even say something, I just think it and it's popping up on my feed.
Yeah. I kind of love it. I'm like, yes, read my mind. Tell me exactly. Like, oh, that was so easy. I didn't even have to go looking for it. Didn't even have to Google search it. That's how easy it was.
True. That is such a great way to look at this.
Read my freaking mind makes it so much easier.
If only we could tell our partners' phones to connect to our algorithm so that it could be like, hey, birthday's coming up. Here are 10 gift ideas that she's been thinking about or talking about or
Girl,
DMing her friends.
you've never done the little whisper into the phone speaker.
I have done that.
Ring, diamond, ring, diamond, ring.
Yes, I have walked by and new camera. New bookshelf. It's so true, right? I mean, the only things I really buy are clothes, not clothes, books, tech. The only clothes I've been buying is because I'm losing so much weight that nothing fits anymore. And I'm spending more time out on the property outside, and I otherwise did not have outgirl clothes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Outside
when I was
clothes.
moving into this place, I had to remind myself, I was like, you need to keep at least 1 or 2 things that you really don't mind just getting wrecked.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have those. Speaking of, I hadn't been to the property in about a month, maybe 4 to 5 weeks. And I finally went back out there just yesterday, and it was so nice. I was like, I didn't realize how much I missed it until I was there again. And I was like, oh, yeah, I missed this. So I did some more raking, some more cleaning,
Yeah.
enjoyed. And then, of course, slit the tire on the way out and had the yay moment. So it ended up being a great day. It was great. I got home in time, still got to go to my dance class. Celebrated 6 months since the Fly Dance Studio has been open. Enjoying that. I really, really love that place. Have I told you about these hip hop dance classes I've been taking?
I know you've taken a lot of dance classes in the past, but not this new place, not the one that's been open 6
These
months.
are like, think of hip hop Zumba. So it's like
Love Zumba.
hip hop Zumba. I mean, it's like doing Zumba, but to like 2000s hip hop music. It's like salt shaker and like it's getting hot in here and like it. I swear we get down. It's so much fun, and so it's basically like lightly choreographed. So there's like 2 to 4 sections that they teach you, which are usually like 1 to
Mhm.
2 8 counts, very easy. And then you just repeat that the whole song like 4 or 5 times. It's kind of like line dancing in a sense to
Okay.
where it's not like the whole song is choreographed and all different. It's very similar. It's cardio is what it's meant to be. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being, looking like, a dancer or whatever. We have a lot of girls who actually come to these classes who are magic dancers or have been a part of different things like that. That's the basketball team here in Orlando. And so we have some people, but what gets me is that I'm one of the youngest people in class. I'm like, most of the people in these classes are 40, 50, 60, 70. We have two women, one 69 and 171, I believe, but they work out on
Mhm.
like Sundays and Saturdays and stuff. I love taking class with them because they they inspire me so much more than the girls who like can break it down and like twerk it out. Like these women are still moving, they're laughing, they're having fun, testing their brain. Like it's so amazing. So I love these classes for the fact that I just get to go in there and look like a hot mess express. I get to be white girl gangster Jayna and just break it down. And like, I wear these big baggy pants and these high top sneakers that I've
Ditto.
rhinestoned. And I pop lock and drop it. Mm, mm, mm. I have a blast. I really do. I took 4 weeks off to travel. I was traveling for like 4 different events, 12 days gone. It was a whole thing. And so then I came back and I was like, I need a week to rest. Like I expended so much energy. I needed a week to rest. So I canceled some of the dance classes. Well, I went to one last night. I think I said a couple times. Well, I showed up thinking it was a 101, which means they teach a dance and you do a dance and you teach a dance and they do a dance and they teach a dance and they only do 5 dances in the whole song in the whole class. So it's good. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
This was a throwdown where they basically teach you one, do it, and then they just hit play on it and just dance. And so you're meant to know the routines, which I kind of do, but I've also not been in the studio for 4 weeks. And which
Mhm.
also means each week they teach one new routine, which means there's now 4 routines I don't know. And so I'm like, so we're like having so much fun in the first dance
Should
because I'm
have
like,
an online class if you could keep up.
well, I mean, there is, and it's an extra like 30, $40 a month. And I'm like, why am I gonna no, I don't need that. Plus I'm traveling. Yeah, whatever, it's fine. But I'm like doing this. So we're in the first dance, they're teaching us the dance, doing the thing like normal. Then the second song comes on, and I'm like, what's happening? No, like she's supposed to stop the music. This is where we're supposed to teach another dance. And I'm like, what's happening? What's happening? What? And I looked to the girl next to me. I was like, is this a throwdown? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, I didn't know that. And she's like, you didn't know this was a throwdown? And I was like, no, I'm actually prepared for this. I'm like panicking. And everyone's like super hyped for this song. I've never heard this song in my life. I don't know what's happening. I'm like just trying to keep up. They're all like looking at me crazy, like Jayna, that was last week's dance. I was like, I wasn't dying. And so I'm like looking at the girls next to me. I'm like freaking out, like about like crying, like right now, just like tears in my eyes, like I haven't been here for all these weeks. I come back. I thought I was doing a 101. I was going to ease in.
Yeah.
And then the girl just looks at me and goes, you know this one. And this song came on, and it's one that I absolutely adore. So I was like, you're right. I got this. And for that one dance, I was like so in it. And the next song, I was like, what's happening? And so all this to say, I love these classes because they are the space that I can go that I know I can look like a bumbling idiot and I can stand in the front row and not know what is happening and still have a fun time and laugh at my failures and laugh at my mistakes and be able to just stand there like, what is happening? And have people laughing with me and not being like,
Yeah.
why are you in the front row and you don't know anything? What are you doing? They were like, oh my God, haha, you were here last week. That's funny. Like, life,
Like everybody else.
right. And this is coming from someone who, if you had seen just before I went on this trip, this hiatus, I literally was just celebrating. They track how many classes you take. And so
Okay.
at 50, 100, I think 200, 500, and 1,000, they celebrate each one of those. And you get a little shirt that says frequent flyer, 50 classes, and it's like a little celebration. So I had just done that right before I went on this trip. So here I am, the person that everybody's loving it because I know all the songs and I'm just getting it in every class. And I'm like smooth as butter because I was taking 4 classes a week. I was like, this is on like hotcakes. And then I leave and I come back and I'm like, I feel like a newbie again. So, that's just life though. Like we can get
Yeah.
experience with anything in life and take a small break, whether that's for health reasons or whether it's a career change or whether it's whatever, right? Life throws us curveballs. But it's okay to go back to being a beginner and it's okay. Just make sure you're surrounded by the right people because if I was in any other dance studio, I would never have gone back because I would have felt so
Yeah.
many eyes, so much judgment, right? Because
Yeah.
most dance studios don't have the community aspect that they do at these fly dance studios. And so much so like we're celebrating 6 months of them being open. The owner was like just giving a toast and she's like in tears, just like literally telling everybody how much it fills her cup to see the community as it is because it's not just people who show up for a class and leave. It's like people you can't get out the door because they're just talking and they're like, okay, we want to close now. Like we've swept the place and cleaned up, like go out the door. And like they'll stand in the parking lots and just keep talking because it's
Yeah.
just such good community because it's a whole bunch of people that, I mean, quite frankly, every room that you walk into is pre-filtering, right? People only go to those rooms because they're interested in whatever that thing is. So if you want to meet more nerds, go to a Comic-Con. If you want to meet more, whatever, go to, doctors, go to school
We're doctors. Go.
classrooms. Yeah. Classrooms? I don't know. Go to the panic stalls in colleges? I'm not sure. So, but if you want to meet really cool middle-aged women who are pre-vetted to being into ghetto gangster rap music, those are my people, man. Like because honestly though, you're not going to be some stuck up panty wad woman in the class like this. You're going to be someone who's like really cool. And like, that's what I found is all of these women super open-minded, really chill, really cool, really fun. Like they'll laugh and joke about things where in other rooms that I've gone into to like meet, network or whatever the event or experience looks like, I walk in and it's always just judgy eyes and quiet people and everyone trying to be professional. But in these rooms, like, especially last night, it was like a neon blacklight theme and everybody's got like these neon things all over them and painting themselves and like it was just so much fun. And I just beg you to find better people, and you find better people by trying new rooms and things you otherwise wouldn't have known, because I only know about these classes because my sister-in-law had been following the first studio that opened in Sarasota, Florida like 7-8 years ago, and they just opened this studio 6 months ago. She's like, they're bringing one to us. We're going. She had just given birth. And she was just waiting for the doctor to tell her she could do things again. And just as they opened, her doctor was like, you can start moving. And she's like, yes. And so she's, let's go dance. I'm like, I didn't know you danced. You've been married to my brother for 3 years. I didn't know this. Like, hey, So I love it because it's an opportunity to get to not just dance, do something I love, not just to be in a great community, but get to spend time with my sister-in-law and laugh, get to see her getting healthier and more fit over time, and just good people, a lot of great things. And yeah, just find your space. And sometimes we don't notice what those spaces are, right? Like I went to these dance classes and almost every studio nowadays has like a pay per class, pay for a package, or pay for unlimited. And it's like the unlimited is always the one that's like, oh, I should just do that. But then you think about like, how often am I really going to come to classes? And I, in the past, had been that person who's like, I'm going to come all the time on unlimited and I never come back. And they just like get a good couple chunks of months of money out of me. I don't know why.
First customer at the gym. Unless I
Yeah.
never show up.
So that's not me today. No, me today gets this unlimited pass and goes all the time. Really.
Yeah.
But before I didn't want to make that same mistake again. So I was just paying per class. I was like, all right, let me just see how many classes I can fit in my schedule. How much my body can handle? Is this going to impact my lifting? Right? I had some things to feel out. So I'm just taking class by class. I maybe did 10 classes. And one night I'm just sitting there after a class telling Tom all the things. Tom's my partner, for those who don't know. And he just looks at me and goes, how much is it for the unlimited package? Because I've never seen you this happy before. And I was like, and he's like, you come home so happy from every one of these classes. Please get the unlimited. And I was like, okay. And so, like, he'll even come home some nights and be like, I thought you were going to dance tonight. And I'll be like, I didn't for whatever reason. He's like, oh, no, you should have gone. And I was like, oh, like, it's just, he's so supportive, even though to take these classes, it is at night, which is the only time I get with him. So it's like taking 2 more days away from him that I don't get, but he's just so adamant about like, you have to keep going to these. Like, you are so happy. And I don't just think it's the chemistry that we get from moving our body. I think it's all of it, the layers of things,
Yeah.
especially the gangster rap. It really gets me there.
This is the video I want to see. Go on, put on a song, let us see it.
I know, right? Yeah, I'll just stand up and I'll
Oh,
move the camera back and I'll do a little
there you
performance
go.
right here for you. No, but like it's find your space, find your people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it can be dancing. Dancing is just an easy way to understand how open someone is in this world, because I find that people who are really closed off, emotionally closed off in a lot of ways, they tend to not be dancers. But people who dance tend to be more open with a lot of other areas of their life, just because it's a physical representation of us. And so if we're physically open, we're going to mentally and emotionally and spiritually be open as well, typically. Same thing shows up in our body. When we're depressed, we're like caved in, and when we're excited and energized, we're out. So I don't know. Life's
The
good.
doggos and I had a fun dance party this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta love.
Ditto knows how to shake his little romp, tell you what. Chancey knows how to throw her hands up. It's so cute. It's so cute.
Oh my gosh.
These are not dance parties that anybody else will ever see, ever. Purely for me and the dogs.
Yes.
And so much fun. But I think that really hits on, like, as you say, find your people. I think it also translates kind of like find your bliss, right? Like, this is a place where you, even your partner, noticed. Freaking love Tom. Shout out to Tom. Tom, all hail. We adore Tom. Even he noticed how much happier you are and how much joy it's bringing you. And putting yourself in that environment, even though it's not directly related to maybe this thing over here, it is, because it's all that energy that's connecting. And I think that's a really powerful thing, is if you just let yourself feel those moments of joy and
Yes.
really just milk them for everything they can give you, and just keep doing that for as long as that feels good.
Yes.
I'm a very regimented person. I like my things the way I like them, and my processes the way that I like them. And it's funny because sometimes I gotta learn, like, in the mornings it was the 15 minutes of meditation, then we do the 15 minutes of appreciation, and then we do and it's like, now in the morning I still do my meditation. That still feels good to do in the morning before I'm interrupted, and still 15 minutes of alignment after that. But now it's like, well, what's going to bring me most joy?
Mm.
And sometimes I sit down with my notebook, and what I write in it is, I'm feeling a lot of resistance to my journal today. So, nope. And that can be such a funny thing. And I'm a very loyal person. So to say I'm going to commit to something and commit to it is something I very much enjoy doing.
Yes.
And to find that new balance of like, okay, well, sometimes this, sometimes that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. And sometimes journals are just for that, just a dumping ground to get things out of your head that make no sense. Like none. Like I should have donated that outfit last year. Why did I ever return that package? Oh, if that it's like sometimes we just need a dumping ground.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just have these little thoughts that like it's almost like they're like free running in my head and like once I can just write them down on paper, they're done. But if I
Yeah.
don't write them down on paper, they're like just running around wreaking havoc and it's like anything I can do to just slow them down for a minute, put them on paper. And then of course, ADOS, attention deficit. Oh, shiny. And then they like on paper, but then I never get back to the paper. So, that's helpful. That's why we have digital workflows.
Well, and I find the best part, I consider sometimes going back through my journal. And if there's something that I do want to focus on, I'll put it in the notes app on my phone and I'll always keep it as one of the background apps. So whenever I'm swiping away, I'll be like, oh, I can remind myself of this real quick.
Mhm.
Um, but I find like earlier you had mentioned in your class, you felt like a beginner all over again. And I'm laughing because I'm like, well, every moment we're a brand new beginner. We've never lived this moment before. We're always beginning. Like,
It's true.
and so that was just kind of like I enjoyed my journal for that moment of focus. That's what I feel like the tool is for me, is like focusing here. And it was just so funny this morning. I'm sitting there and I'm journaling and I was like, well, I'm feeling this, and next on the emotional scale is anger. So I'm like trying to convince myself that what I want to feel is anger. I was like, but I just don't feel that way. I really don't. I was like, I do feel a lot of appreciation for this. I do feel, and it's just like, God, okay. All right. And so it's like in my journal, it's literally like me trying so hard to feel a way that I'm like, well, this is on the map where it says to go. And being like, you know what, I want to take the scenic route today. So
Yeah.
fork it. Let's go.
I love journals for just because sometimes we feel so passionate about something and we just and we write it all down and we put it away and we'll come back a couple days later and we'll read it and we're like, who the fuck? Who is this? It's just because emotions change the way that the logic part of your brain works. And so you will think you're so spot on and you're so right and you're this and that. And if you just, that's my joy of journaling, write it down, come back to it a couple days later and read it. You're going to go, oh, maybe I should reach out and apologize. Or like, or just you're going to find more lessons. Or maybe you'll see it and be like, yeah, I was right. But now I can be right and neutral. Right.
Yeah.
There's so many different aspects to journaling. But that's my go-to for recommending to people. It's really funny. I told someone the other day, I don't know if I am just putting myself in a real tough position in business or what, but like everything that I recommend is free. Journaling, meditation, go for a walk, lift weights, play with your dog, take a bubble bath. Like everything is generally free. I'm not here telling you pay $120 for this supplement every single month and fly across the country to Aruba to go do this thing. Like, no, it's literally like stop, breathe, go for a walk, write in on pen on paper, and so I'm like telling people I feel like I have a harder time convincing people to do things because it's
When they don't
free.
invest in it.
I'm like, it's literally free. It's like, they're like, no, but like what?
There's literally a section in the ebook that says, "Listen, today's task for you is to breathe. It should be easy. You've been doing it your whole life."
This is true.
I'm
It's
gonna
true.
plug this in real quick so I can stay on this vibe with you.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Well, we don't have much more vibe to vibe if you don't want to vibe because we're close to. We can wrap this up at any point. I'm.
Well, you gotta wrap it before you tap it, honey.
I love you so much.
I can't let time fly without making a few innuendos. Like, come on, I'm still Cabrina.
I did have one question I wrote down that I thought would be interesting. I don't know why this hit me, but I'm curious what your answer is.
Okay.
So nature and movement.
Yeah.
nature and movement. Are these hobbies, habits, or your happy place?
Ooh, so you're talking about when I'm out hiking.
Yeah.
That is happy place.
Yeah.
That is happy place. 100%. Um, I really, oh God, I could get emotional about it. I love the mountain so much. Um, when I'm out there, it is the easiest place for me to feel appreciation.
Mm.
It just comes so naturally. And even the whole process leading up to it is so much fun. Like, I have a hike planned for Chansey for her birthday coming up.
Yay.
Yeah, happy birthday, Chansey. And I'm already just feeling those bubbles and like just picturing myself out on that mountain. It's gonna be my favorite hike. It's a gorgeous hike. I'm just so excited for that to just be out there, see the beautiful scenery. Like I feel, like you said, the things you suggest are free.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is the most beautiful piece of art I've ever seen. When I'm out there on those mountains, that's how it feels. It's like this is just the most beautiful art I've ever seen. And getting to see my dog all happy and alive and sniffing and doing her little doggy things.
Yes. I love that.
Definitely happy.
I figured it would be your happy place. And I think the reason why the question came up at all was because I know so many people who they'll come to me for whatever surface level reason. They want to lose weight or get more fit or whatever it is. And they're like, how do I get these habits? How do I build these habits, these habits, these habits? Or and then the talk goes, oh, well, instead of focusing on habits, why don't you grab a hobby? And I'm like, but I sat back, I was like, it's not a habit or a hobby for Cabrina. It's her happy place. So it's not
Yeah.
like you're not doing the aspect of going out so that you can get in your steps, so you can get in your
Mhm.
vitamin D, so you can get your outdoor air time. Like, no, like you're doing it because it literally fills your cup in so many other ways. And those are just a
Yeah.
secondary byproduct of it.
Yeah. And I think too, one really fun thing that kind of comes up when you talk about that like happy place, right? And building habits or building hobbies. I think one of the fun processes when you really train your focus and you say, this is my desire and I am clear on it and I can feel those feelings. What I've started to notice is what I call inspired action. And so this is like this calling in me. A lot of people would call it intuition.
Mhm.
It's like this kind of this nudge, and it feels playful because that's how I am. I'm playful. So mine talks to me
Yes.
playfully. Maybe you're a little bit ornery, so yours talks to you in an ornery way, right? Maybe you're a little bit like New York, so it's a little bit rough around the edges. I don't know. Mine talks to me in a very playful way. And it's this inspired action, like a little nudge from the universe. Like I remember one time I'm sitting on the freaking stairs and all of a sudden I get so excited to go to Barnes and Noble. This was not on the to-do list at all. Found the most inspiring book there. Got to like talk to two amazing people who just really uplifted my spirits while I was there. Like it was just such a fun moment. And I feel like when you really have that focus and you're really like, okay, this is my desire, this is what I want, you'll find that, people are like, well, how do you find the motivation? It's like, I don't. It's like, it's just that inspiration to be here because I know that this is just the next logical step and it feels good to be here.
Yeah.
And it's again with that when I'm noticing that action oriented part of myself that's like go go go, we have to do this, then it's my cue to kind of sit back and be like, how can I realign with this? Or what is this inner guidance nudging me towards? And there are times where I'll have a hike planned and it's like, whew, I'm not inspired to do that today. No,
Yeah.
like during the move, I try to go hiking once a week. During the move, I was like, because of the momentum that I have towards this moving and everything that I want to get done here and how I've been focused more here on this move, I'm feeling more inspired to stay here and pack and clean and move versus going out to the mountains.
Yeah.
So I think it's that inspired action when people are asking like, well, how do you do this or how do you do that? And it's there for everybody. And I think sometimes we find very creative ways to cut ourselves off from it.
Yeah. It's that that what I hear is it's the difference between I have to and I get to, right? There's that part of
That's a
you that's like,
very easy way to put it. Yes.
oh, I have to do this. Oh, I get to do this. And it's like that's two very different humans right there and one word
Yeah, and can
change.
you feel that difference, right? Like even your shoulders were, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly
exactly.
where it sounds like to me is because when we live in the world of get tos, then our excitement leads us. And that excitement leading your path is also the thing that's going to then attract more excitement for you to
Yeah,
have. But if we're going
yeah,
through life and the opposite, I have to do this. Oh, I have to be here. How soon can I leave? How late can I go? That's going to give off the energy that you don't care because you don't. And that
yeah.
low level energy is not going to attract any opportunities into your world. And I just think there's so much blessing to living a life you get to live versus you
Yes.
have to live. Because I don't actually think we have to do anything other than breathe, eat, sleep, a few things there. But, generally speaking, I think people put have tos on a lot more in life than they really, and the word need is also convoluted, and then people use need in place of want a lot. You really don't
Yeah.
need the thing. You want the thing. You just don't know the difference because you haven't had to learn that yet. Um, but I think that those words, if people can start to be more aware of their words, need versus want, and be more aware of how their language is using have to or get to, that in itself
Hmm.
will shift for people. And like the
Yeah.
other set of words you can listen for with all of this, because we've talked about this a little bit, is like the masculine and the feminine energy. And the masculine being that action, doing, like forward focused strategy. And that energy in itself is the I think. It's here. It's your head. It's your logic. It's your brain. I think, I think. So you're probably going to be saying words that are, well, I think that's going to be the right choice. I think I should make this. I think I should buy that. I think I should. I think. It's all logic. Then there's the opposite side of the scale, which is the feminine. That is more the being versus the doing. That's the presence, that's slow down, that's recovery, that's nurturing, that's that creative energy. And all of those are the I know or I feel. Right? You
Yeah.
think of creative people, I feel like this is the color that this is calling for. Like I just know that if we get this, then the guests are going to have the greatest experience and they're going to come back again and again. I
Yeah.
really feel that this is what's going to get people to post about this in social media. Like that is here. That's heart-centered energy versus, well, I think that these are the numbers that are going to work for our budget. That's very different. And I think just keeping awareness of that, like if you're hearing yourself say, I think, maybe there's some room for shifting into the feminine, take that deep breath that we talked about and just,
Have you ever had that moment where you're listening to yourself talk? And I can't think of a specific example, but you're listening to yourself talk and you're going, whoa. Like sometimes in a good way and sometimes in a bad way where you're like, oh, I was not being very aware in that
yep,
moment. And and sometimes it's like, wow, like look at that growth. Like sometimes I'll hear myself talk and I'll be like, who was that? That's a new character mode that I like. Okay. And then sometimes I listen to that, I'm like, oof, okay, we need to clean that one up a little bit.
yep. And as someone
Yeah,
who
and it's
does
like those the observer of your own thoughts when that's because I find when I'm by myself very easy to kind of
ruminate,
focus, and realize how I'm percolating in
yeah,
within myself. And then when around people, it is kind of more that autopilot. And so it's kind of fun to have those autopilot moments. That way I can observe myself and kind of be like, wow, how am I interacting? And what are those things that are naturally coming up? Because now I know if these kinds of words and these kinds of phrases and these kinds of things are coming up, then I'm in that direction. Or if these kinds of words and these kinds of things, if I find myself complaining more, in an autopilot mode, then that means I've got some cleaning up to do. If I'm finding myself talking a lot about beliefs and what I'm attracting into my future and what I'm excited for, like, okay, great. Keep doing what you're doing then. And so it's, as you said earlier, you can kind of look at someone and kind of be like, because you've done the work that you're like, oh, okay, I can see that. Oh, I could pick that out here. And it's fun to be able to do that to yourself. and then realizing you have the power to change that. That's so much fun.
Yeah.
That is so much fun.
It is the greatest when you catch yourself and go, "Oh," because you like. So I recently had an experience. I will admit to. Um, I was on my way back from my 12 days gone, speaking, traveling, energy, all the things. I was toast. I was so exhausted. So I took an Uber home from the airport, and typically I talk on my Uber rides because I just want to be kind and courteous, and they always have great stories.
I've been a witness.
I'm a
There's some
big
fun
talker.
conversations we've had.
I mean, it's a great way to get to know people around the country. So,
Yeah.
uh, this time I didn't. I was very quiet. I just kind of kept to myself. Um, and we got towards the neighborhood. There's a gate at our neighborhood, and coming up to it, I was like, "Hey, I just want to say thank you so much for letting this be a quiet ride today. I've just spent the last 12 days speaking, and so it was like I just didn't want to have to talk." And he was like, "No, I get it. All good." We pull up to the guardhouse, and I roll my window in the back seat down and show them my ID and say, "I'm a resident and just in an Uber getting a ride home."
Hmm.
Typically, the response is they look at it, they see the address, which is in the neighborhood, and they go, "Okay." And they hit the button and the thing goes up and you just go through. Well, that was not the case this day. So this guy takes my ID, and I was like, "Oh, this is new." I was like, "Okay." Takes my ID, and he's like, poking at the computer, and he's like, "This is just gonna take me a minute. It's gonna take me a second, but give me a second and I'll have this." And I was like, "Okay." And I snapped. I snapped because he was starting to yell at me, and I was a little bit caught off guard by that. And I know that there are a lot of people in the neighborhood who like to have the uppity, like, "Ooh, we have a gate. Ooh, we're protected." And like to me, it's a little pretentious. To me, it's like we're just normal people. Like I live here, just let me through the gate. And it was a really bad moment in my world because I snapped at this man who did not deserve this, who probably had an even longer day than I did, who probably had a lot more things on his plate. He probably was being yelled at by a boss, told that he needed to be a very specific way and wasn't. And I unfortunately um I just was mean, and I just don't feel good about it. And so, all that to say, I have ruminated on this, and I do believe that we have lost Cabrina. I do believe her phone has disconnected and is not on the call anymore. So, that said, I'm going to go ahead and because we don't edit these, there's no plan, there's nothing here. It is just us chit chatting and bringing you guys in on it. So, that was our conversation for today. I really, really enjoyed this conversation. I hope that you also enjoyed every bit of this conversation. And yeah, if you got something out of it, please share it with a family member or friend if you think they also could get something from this. And until next time, we will see you in the next video.